Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into something what's fascinating and kind of scary at the same time. Fake casting agent scams. You know, those like too good to be true offers that promise you.
Like instant stardom.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's something that I think is really important for anyone to know about who's even thinking about dipping their toes into the entertainment industry. And even if you're not, it's a pretty fascinating world.
It really is.
So to shed some light on this, today we're going to be using excerpts from a text about classic confidence tricks and a summary from ChatGPT.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we're going old school and new school.
I like it.
And get this, one of the sources actually mentions that 70s show episode where Donna pretends to be a casting agent to trick Jackie. I mean, if Jackie Burkhart can fall for it,
Wow.
anyone can.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just goes to show how these scams can really snare anyone, even people who you think would be familiar with the industry. But I think what's really interesting about these scams is that they prey on something much deeper than just naivete. I think they really tap into our aspirations, our deepest desires for success and recognition.
Yeah, you're totally right. It's not just about being gullible. It's about that like yearning for a break, that hope that maybe, just maybe, this is your ticket to the big time.
Exactly. And, scammers, they know how to exploit that vulnerability. They dangle these like incredible opportunities in front of you, and they're playing on your emotions to kind of cloud your judgment.
So ChatGPT actually outlines the typical steps that are involved in these scams. So first, there's that initial contact, and it can come from anywhere. It can be an unsolicited email, a DM on social media, even a random phone call.
Right. And to make it even more convincing, they'll often try to like build credibility. They might drop names of well-known agencies or productions or even celebrities. They really create this illusion of being like a legitimate insider.
Oh, totally. And then comes the bait. The promise of that amazing opportunity, the lead role in a major film, a coveted spot on a hit TV show, a high-paying modeling campaign,
Right.
Something perfectly tailored to your dream.
Something that seems like it could totally change your life.
Yeah.
And this is where the psychology gets really interesting, because they create this sense of urgency. They pressure you to make a quick decision before you, quote unquote, miss out. It's all about short-circuiting your rational thinking and getting you to act impulsively.
Yeah, it's like bypassing that little voice in your head that's saying, wait a minute, this seems kind of fishy.
Exactly. And sadly, that's when they hit you with the real hook. Upfront fees.
And those fees can be disguised in so many ways.
Oh, so many ways.
They'll ask for money for audition preparation, portfolio development, even travel expenses to like some non-existent audition.
Right. It's all designed to seem like it's totally legitimate, like it's just part of the process.
Yeah.
And then tragically, once those fees are paid, the scammer often disappears, leaving the victim with nothing but, shattered hopes and an empty wallet.
So before we get into how to avoid falling into these traps, I want to talk about the contracts, because I know that some scammers actually use contracts to make it all seem above board.
Oh, absolutely. Fake contracts are a classic tool of the trade. They are so carefully crafted to mimic legitimate agreements, and they're filled with industry jargon and legal-sounding language.
Yeah.
All to lull the victim into a false sense of security.
Wow, they really put a lot of effort into making it seem real.
They do, and that's what makes these scams so insidious. They're preying on our hopes, our ambitions, and then they use those very desires against us.
Okay, so now that we kind of understand the inner workings of these scams, let's move on to the red flags. What are some telltale signs that just scream fake agent?
Well, unsolicited contact is a big one. You think about it. Legitimate agents have rosters of clients. They're busy people. They're not typically just trawling the internet, looking for fresh faces.
So if someone randomly reaches out with this incredible opportunity, that's a red flag right there.
Absolutely. But the most glaring red flag, the one that should always make you hit the brakes, is a request for upfront payment. Now, you might be thinking, don't some legitimate acting classes or workshops require payment?
Yeah.
And yes, some do, but a real talent agent never.
Yeah.
They make their money through commissions on their clients' earnings, not by charging fees, for the privilege of representing them.
Okay, so unsolicited contact and demands for upfront fees. Those are two major warning signs. But I'm guessing there's some more subtle red flags to watch out for.
You're right, and often it comes down to those too good to be true offers, let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you're relatively new to the industry, landing a major role without a substantial portfolio or experience is highly unlikely.
Right, so a healthy dose of realism is important. Don't let those dazzling promises blind you to the realities of the business.
Exactly. Another red flag is a lack of specific details. A legitimate agent will be able to provide concrete information about the project, the production company, the role, the casting process. If they're vague or evasive, that's a bad sign.
And what about those high-pressure tactics? Like, you have to decide right now or the opportunity will be gone.
Uh-huh.
That's got to be a huge red flag, right?
Absolutely. Legitimate professionals don't operate that way. They understand the important decisions,
Yeah.
require careful consideration. These pressure tactics are designed to override your common sense and make you act impulsively.
So we've got unsolicited contact upfront fees, grandiose promises, lack of specifics, and pressure tactics. Any other warning signs we should be on the lookout for?
Yes, always look for verifiable information. Does the agent or agency have a professional website?
Mhm.
Can you find them listed with reputable industry organizations
Hmm.
like the Casting Society of America or the Screen Actors Guild? Can they provide references from other clients?
So basically, do your homework. Don't just take their word for it.
Exactly. And pay attention to their communication style. Are their emails or messages well written? Or are they riddled with grammatical errors, typos, and awkward phrasing? Legitimate agencies tend to be very professional in their communication.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of red flags here, but I'm curious from your experience, what stands out to you as the most telling sign that someone's dealing with a fake agent? What's the one thing that should make them run for the hills?
Honestly, for me, it always comes back to those upfront fees. It's the most fundamental difference between a genuine talent agent and a scammer. Legitimate agents just don't operate that way. It's a clear line in the sand.
Yeah, if money is changing hands before they've even landed you a role, it's a huge red flag.
Exactly. And don't be swayed by justifications or promises, even if they try to spin those fees as, like guaranteed work or access to big-name producers. It's still a scam.
Okay, so let's say someone's been contacted by a potential agent. What are some practical steps they can take to verify the legitimacy of the offer?
Well, first and foremost, research is your best friend. Don't just take their word for it. Dive deep into the agent or agency's background.
So we're talking about like checking their website, looking for reviews, seeing if they have a solid track record.
Precisely. Look for any inconsistencies in their information or claims. Do they have a physical address? Are they listed with reputable industry organizations, like the CSA or SAG? And if they name-drop specific productions or celebrities, verify those connections.
And what about reaching out to those organizations directly?
That's a great idea. Contact the organization they claim to be affiliated with and confirm their membership status.
Okay, so research is key. What else can people do to protect themselves?
Never, and I mean never, pay upfront fees, no matter how convincing their story or how tempting the opportunity. Remember, legitimate agents do not require payment to audition or represent you.
So if money is requested before they've even secured you work, that's an immediate deal breaker.
Absolutely, and don't be afraid to ask tough questions.
Yeah.
Request references from other actors or models they've represented. If they hesitate or can't provide any, that's a major red flag.
It's all about asserting your right to be informed and ensuring you're dealing with a true professional.
You got it. And always trust your instincts. If something feels off, if the offer seems too good to be true, or if the agent is pressuring you, it's probably best to walk away.
Yeah, it's better to err on the side of caution than risk being taken advantage of.
Exactly. And if you do encounter a suspected scam, reporting it to the appropriate authorities is crucial. Organizations like the Better Business Bureau, the Federal Trade Commission, or even your local consumer protection agency can help investigate and potentially prevent these scammers
Yeah.
from harming others.
So we've covered how these scams operate, the red flags to watch out for, and practical steps to protect yourself. What's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember today?
I think the most important thing to remember is that knowledge is power. The more you understand about these scams and the psychology behind them, the better equipped you'll be to spot them and protect yourself. Be informed, be cautious, and trust your gut.
Great advice. We've been focusing on fake casting agent scams specifically, but the tactics we've discussed,
Yeah.
the psychological manipulation, the pressure tactics, they extend far beyond the entertainment industry, don't they?
You're absolutely right. These same manipulative techniques can be found in scams across a wide range of fields.
So let's talk about that. How might these same scam tactics be used in other industries? What parallels can we draw?
Well, think about job scams, for instance. You might see ads for work-from-home opportunities that promise like high salaries for minimal effort It sounds too good to be true, and often it is.
Right, and they might require you to pay for training materials or equipment up front.
Exactly. Or consider romance scams, where someone creates a fake online persona to gain your trust, and then starts asking for money, playing on your emotions and vulnerabilities.
So the emotional manipulation is a common thread across these different scams.
Absolutely. They prey on our vulnerabilities, our desires for love, financial security, or career success, and they often use those very desires against us.
It's about recognizing those patterns of manipulation, regardless of the specific industry or context.
Precisely. The key is to be aware of the tactics, ask questions, do your research, and most importantly, trust your gut if something feels wrong.
That's such a valuable point. We need to develop that healthy skepticism, that critical thinking mindset that helps us navigate this increasingly complex world.
I couldn't agree more. And remember, it's not just about protecting ourselves financially. These scams can also have a devastating emotional impact on their victims.
You're right. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into pursuing your dream, only to be taken advantage of in such a callous way. It's heartbreaking.
It can be incredibly damaging. It can shatter people's confidence and make them hesitant to trust legitimate opportunities in the future.
Right. It creates this ripple effect of negativity that extends far beyond the immediate financial loss.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to talk about these scams openly, to raise awareness and empower people to protect themselves.
Absolutely. We need to arm ourselves with knowledge and use our critical thinking skills to navigate this world safely and confidently.
And remember, if you've been a victim of a scam, it's not your fault. These scammers are skilled manipulators who prey on people's vulnerabilities. It can happen to anyone.
That's so important to emphasize. Don't blame yourself. Instead, focus on reporting the scam and taking steps to prevent it from happening to others.
Exactly. By sharing our experiences and knowledge, we can help create a safer and more informed community.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of fake casting agent scams, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. We've talked about the specific tactics, the red flags, but the bigger takeaway here is the importance of critical thinking and vigilance in all aspects of our lives.
That's a great point. Whether it's a job offer, an investment opportunity, or even a romantic connection, always question research and trust your gut.
Because in the end, protecting ourselves from scams isn't just about avoiding financial loss. It's about safeguarding our dreams, our hopes, and our sense of self-worth.
Beautifully said.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But remember, this conversation doesn't have to end here. We encourage you to keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep sharing your knowledge with others.
And if you have any personal experiences or insights you'd like to share, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're always eager to hear from our listeners.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay scam-free.
It's wild, isn't it? Like, we often talk about scams in terms of, like, the financial loss.
Yeah.
But the emotional impact can be just as devastating, if not more so.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about the money you lose. It's about the betrayal of trust, the shattered hopes, the blow to your self-esteem.
Exactly. Like, imagine you've been working so hard for years. You're dedicating so much time to honing your craft, pouring your heart and soul into pursuing this dream, only to be taken advantage of by someone who's promising you the world. It's got to be incredibly demoralizing.
It is. It really makes people question themselves, their talent, even their judgment. And that's honestly one of the most insidious things about these scams. You know, they don't just steal your money, they steal your confidence.
Yeah, it's like they're robbing you of your future potential, that belief in yourself. That's so essential for success in any field, especially one as competitive as the entertainment industry. Yeah, you're so right. And I think that really highlights why it's so important to talk about these scams openly and honestly. We need to break the stigma, let people know that it's okay to admit that they've been targeted, and encourage them to report these incidents.
Right. Because reporting these scams, it isn't just about seeking justice for yourself. It's about preventing others from falling victim to those same tactics. It's about protecting the community as a whole.
Precisely. And by sharing our experiences,
Yeah.
Both the positive and the negative ones, we can create a more informed and empowered community, one where aspiring artists
Yeah,
can pursue their dreams without fear of exploitation.
I love that. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of fake casting agent scams, I want to circle back to something you said earlier. Knowledge is power. We've armed ourselves with information. We dissected the tactics. We identified the red flags. What I really want our listeners to take away from this is a sense of empowered vigilance.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. Vigilance without fear, skepticism without cynicism, the ability to approach opportunities with enthusiasm,
Yeah.
but also a healthy dose of critical thinking.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, protecting ourselves from scams, it isn't about living in a state of paranoia. It's about being informed, being discerning, and trusting our instincts.
And if something feels too good to be true, it probably is. That old adage holds true in the entertainment industry, just like it does in any other field.
Well said. So, folks, as we conclude this deep dive, remember, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay scam-free.